In February 2025, the quiet town of Hopewell, New York, became the unwilling stage for one of the most harrowing and disturbing cases in recent memory. The name Sam Nordquist would soon be known across the country, not for the dreams he pursued or the kindness he exuded, but for the brutal end he met. A 24-year-old transgender man from Red Wing, Minnesota, Sam's life was cut short by unimaginable cruelty, and the nation would come to mourn him while demanding answers. This video tells Sam's story, not just the horror he endured, but the human being behind the headlines. As we walk through the tragic sequence of events, the failures of the system, and the heartbreak of a family torn apart, we'll also reflect on the broader implications of identity, safety, justice, and the lingering effects of societal neglect. This is not just a crime story, it's a call for awareness and action. Sam Nordquist was born in Red Wing, Minnesota, a picturesque town by the Mississippi River. He was biracial and proud of his heritage, growing up in a loving household with his mother and two siblings. From an early age, Sam stood out, not because he demanded attention, but because of the kindness that radiated from him. He was the type of person who, according to his mother, would give you the shirt off his back. Sam attended Red Wing High School, where he was known for his outgoing personality and deep sense of compassion. Friends recall a young man with an infectious smile and a heart big enough to carry the worries of others. After graduating, Sam began working in Little Canada, Minnesota, at a group home for individuals with disabilities. This job, though challenging, suited him perfectly. It allowed him to do what he loved most, care for others. He was close with his nieces and nephew, often spending weekends with family. His mother described him as someone who loved deeply, worked hard, and lived authentically. Sam identified as transgender and had begun his transition journey with the support of his family. Though he faced challenges due to his identity, those close to him admired his courage and resilience. Sam was a son, a brother, a friend, and a caretaker. He had hopes, plans, and dreams. He wanted love, stability, and the simple joy of living on his own terms. These human details matter, because too often, victims of horrific crimes are reduced to headlines. Sam was not just a victim, he was a person. In late 2024, Sam began communicating with a woman named Precious Arzuaga, whom he met online. Their digital relationship blossomed, and they quickly developed what Sam believed was a deep connection. On September 28, 2024, Sam left Minnesota with plans to meet Arzuaga in Geneva, New York. It was supposed to be a short trip, just 2 weeks to see if the spark they had online would translate in person. But once in New York, things changed. Sam decided to stay. He told his family he wanted to work on his relationship with Arzuaga and explore a potential new beginning. His family, though concerned, supported his decision. They kept in regular contact through texts and calls, but as weeks passed, Sam's communication began to dwindle. By early December, red flags began to surface. Sam's messages became erratic. His tone seemed off. On January 1, 2025, communication ceased entirely. His mother and siblings grew alarmed. They described his final messages as not like himself, devoid of the warmth and personality they knew so well. Desperate, his mother reached out to local authorities in Ontario County to perform wellness checks, but these requests were declined. Sam had told someone at Ontario County Social Services in December that he needed an escape plan, but he never returned to follow up. That email was one of the last signs of life from Sam. According to the New York State Police and District Attorney's Office, Sam Nordquist had been tortured continuously between early December 2024 and February 2025. He was beaten with sticks, dog toys, ropes, and belts. He was sexually assaulted with a table leg and a broomstick. He was denied food and water, forced to consume urine, feces, and tobacco juice. Bleach was poured over his body. The sustained abuse was both physical and psychological, methodical and monstrous. On February 2, 2025, Sam succumbed to his injuries. His body was not immediately found. Instead, It was transported and dumped in a remote field in Yates County, about 50 miles from the motel. His remains were discovered on February 13. The attempt to conceal his body showed a calculated effort to hide a heinous crime. At a February 14 press conference, Captain Kelly Swift called it one of the most horrific crimes she had ever encountered. The trauma Sam endured was beyond comprehension. The sheer brutality left seasoned investigators visibly shaken. 7 suspects were eventually charged in connection to Sam's death. Precious Arzuaga, aged 38. Jennifer Quijano, aged 30. Kyle Sage, aged 33. Patrick Goodwin, aged 30. Emily Motika, aged 19. Thomas G. Eves, aged 21. And Kimberly Sokia, aged 29. They were all charged with first-degree murder, first-degree aggravated sexual abuse, first-degree kidnapping, second-degree conspiracy, and endangering the welfare of a child. 6 were charged with concealment of a human corpse. 4 faced sexual abuse charges. Notably, 2 children, ages 7 and 12, were reportedly coerced into participating in the abuse. Arzuaga was specifically charged with using the children in this manner. It added yet another tragic layer to an already devastating story. The district attorney declined to label the crime a hate crime, citing that several of the defendants identified as LGBTQ+ and were personally connected to Sam. Assistant DA Kelly Wolford explained, "To limit us to a hate crime would be an injustice to Sam. Sam was beaten, assaulted, sexually abused, starved, held captive. And we cannot make sense of that." News of Sam's death sparked national outrage. Vigils were held in Minnesota and New York. Friends, family, and complete strangers gathered to remember his life and denounce the violence that stole it. A memorial was held at the Minnesota State Capitol. LGBTQ+ organizations across the country released statements demanding justice. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz described the crime as deeply disturbing. New York Governor Kathy Hochul pledged support for Sam's family and the investigation. GLAAD, the nation's largest LGBTQ+ advocacy group, called for hate crime charges, stating that hate can exist even among those who share marginalized identities. Rochester LGBTQ+ Together condemned the crime, calling it anger and disgust personified. The New York City Anti-Violence Project emphasized the intersectionality of trans violence, pointing to broader patterns of neglect and hostility. The story of Sam Nordquist cannot end with prosecution alone. It must ignite change. His case revealed cracks in law enforcement responses, in societal awareness, and in how vulnerable people can fall through the gaps. Sam asked for help. He tried to get out. But the system failed him. His family's pleas were ignored. His suffering went unseen until it was too late. In his name, advocates are pushing for reforms to how missing person reports are handled, especially for transgender individuals. They're also calling for broader education on recognizing abuse signs and supporting LGBTQ+ youth. Sam Nordquist should be remembered not for the pain he endured, but for the life he lived, and the justice that must follow. Sam Nordquist. A kind soul. A loving son. A hard worker. A friend. A fighter. We tell his story to honor his memory and to shine a light on the darkness that took him. Let his name be a reminder of the work still to be done, and the lives that deserve protection. Justice is not just in the courtroom, it's in remembrance, in reform, and in making sure no one else is forgotten. Say his name. Remember his story. Sam Nordquist.